Alright, June 30th, 2019, of course. So, two big changes in my system. Number one is I drilled a new hole in my fish tank here, and it goes into this new filter barrel, and I stopped messing around with uniseals, and I just did those screw-on bulkhead fittings, and it works great. And the inside is like that. The water comes in through the flower pot in the center, goes down, and then comes back up through that, up and then drains out through that pipe at the bottom of the screen. So cool. It's the reverse of my other filter in here, which is where the water comes outside the rim of the flower pot, goes down, up, and then drains through that center pipe. Okay, so now I've got 3 1.5 lines, 1, 2, 3, draining, allowing water to flow out of this fish tank. And of course that still just drains down into 2 1.5 lines with quite a few little bends and stuff in them. So anyway, I'm not sure. I think I might be maxing out the 2-inch pipe. I'm not sure. Lots of new plants. Blueberry. The kiwis are growing like crazy. The strawberries are growing like crazy. There's streamers everywhere. They're all from the white strawberry plants up there, but I haven't ever seen one flower, so I'm hoping it's not just like some scam strawberry. Oh yeah, they turn out white, just have to wait a year or two, and but we'll see how it goes. And I've got some little ones in pots down there starting off, the streamers. So I pulled out all the hot greens that were falling into this bed, cleared that up. The tomato plant is growing lots. The marshmallow plant is very tall also. The spinach is everywhere. Anywhere it can get some sunshine, it's coming out. Seems happy. The bean coming up and around the edge there. There it is. So that's climbing like crazy up the twine and things. This plant is a volunteer local plant, maybe dandelion or something, but the leaves aren't right for it. But it's also acting as a support for another bean plant, so it's gonna stay in. Raspberries are doing good, except look at these leaves. Doesn't that look weird? I think that's an iron deficiency, but I could be wrong. Oh, so that brings me to my next point. So okay, we got a bunch of flowers and plants. Okay, everything's growing, blah blah blah. And I got some more stuff over here. Okay, grow bed. And over there, we'll probably hit this in another video. There's pumpkin and muskmelon and stuff. Okay, so what is this thing? And this is a big plastic cylinder that extends all the way to the bottom of my sump tank. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Alright, this is a plastic cylinder that extends all the way to the bottom of my sump tank. The bottom is gravel. There's a bunch of holes drilled in the bottom of it. The bottom's gravel to 1 inch higher than the holes. And then it's a layer of, I think it was charcoal. And I've got a bunch of iron bits in there. There's some steel wool on top. There's rebar chunks in there. I found a little novelty cast iron pan my neighbor gave me. And also an axe head with no wood in it. So that's all in there, and plus a ton of steel wool. Here's some of the steel wool right there. Okay, so the idea is, oh, and then so there's iron and stuff in there, and then I put a bunch of charcoal in there, which I just got as grill fuel. You know, the high-end charcoal without all the additives. That's perfect. So go ahead and use that. Break it up into little chunks and stack it up in there with I did a couple inches of charcoal and then some sand on top, and then a couple inches of charcoal and some sand. I ran out of space because of how this is all set up in my sump tank. So anyway, it's sand on top, and I put the iron. There's a bunch of steel wool at the bottom and around the holes, and there's a bunch of steel wool at the top where the water comes in. And this is in an effort to make sure that the inside of this sand chamber remains anaerobic. I don't want oxygen getting in there because it'll upset the bacteria. This has to be an anaerobic thing. It's those kind of bacteria that are able to digest the iron with the aid of the carbon from the charcoal and release it in a plant available form. So when we're pumping water, we've got water on top. When we're not pumping water, this grow bed's still draining for at least an hour, and there's such low flow through this that the drainage from the grow bed keeps the sand filter reactor full of water until the surrounding water in the sump tank rises. When the pump's off, the water rises, and that's why there's duckweed and stuff. The water rises just to a little bit above the top of the surface of the sand reactor, so the duckweed can flood in. But I don't think that's any particular issue. So we'll see how it goes. And I don't really have a way to test it except in a few weeks. Let's see if my iron deficient plants are not iron deficient, and also I can try and stir up the sand maybe and see if there's any anaerobic smells in there. Oh, how does it work? It's the anaerobic bacteria. It's a trade-off basically. You're trading nitrates for iron. And if you run this anaerobic sand filter without iron in it, it'll just off-gas the nitrates as nitrous oxide, I believe. So we'll see how this goes. I've only seen a couple mentions of it online, but it seems to be the way to handle it. Especially in reef tanks, they use it a lot for removing nitrates from the system. With the iron in there, it should be helping adding that to the water that's running in the system, and correcting any deficiencies that the plants are showing. Hopefully. There's a lot of iron in there. Alright. Until next time.